All right. Well, hello, everybody. We've got to do a quick little adjustment here. All right. We're going to go with the blurry background today. All right. Well, good morning. And here we are. We'll follow a theme. Money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is like oxygen on the gotta have it scale. So these are weekly conversations that relate with financial related issues and opportunities in the professional beauty industry. This is week 55, double nickels. Average profitability for salons are a nickel on the dollar. Maybe we can double that, get double nickels, 10% profit. Anyway, who would have thought we'd get to week 55? So anyway, I am from Qnity. We're here to make what is complicated, confusing, and overwhelming into a more clear path to greater prosperity. Moving from an era where it was complicated, text-heavy, and theoretical to simple, visual, and actionable. We're all about earning more money, doing what you love, and having a great quality of life. And the way we interface with the marketplace is our new money course for students. We have a profit course. We also do some transition planning. I do want to spend a couple minutes talking about coaching, Qnity in action. If you're interested in working with a coach, you can go to our website. You can learn more. You can also book a complimentary consult. It includes coaching sessions, toolbox, assessment, key takeaways, and our coaches are highly trained, very experienced in the field. Also, by way of announcement, we don't often promote different things we have going on. So this isn't about promotion, it's about communication. We do have our trainer certification program coming up. I know we have several people already enrolled in that. If you're interested in becoming an in-house trainer in the core Qnity curriculum, you can join us. And then a little bit later, I'm going to be talking about the money program. Plan for profits. Those either going through the guided group. It was a great session on Monday where we made the curriculum come alive, and it was highly interactive. It was a ton of fun. We also have the 2 to 10 project, guys. If you qualify and if you received an invitation, please register ASAP. So these roundtables are really built upon creating a brain trust of individuals that show up each week and contribute their time, energy, and this week is going to be no exception. We've had an amazing group of brain trust contributors. This is probably about half of them. This week's guest will be Lina Heath from Eveline Charles. We're going to get to Lina in a couple minutes here. I'm excited to go through Lina's story with you. Many of you do know Lina. If you don't know Lina, we're going to introduce her very shortly. 2 weeks ago, excuse me, great session with Tracy and Melody from Devante Salons, and they were very generous in sharing some of their recruitment materials, really doing a better job of communicating what their opportunity is visually, simply, and reminder to always be working on retaining and recruiting. So past recordings of this, if you're new, they're now on YouTube. They're also on our Plan for Profits portal. We do have a school roundtable, and today we've got a special guest that relates with trends in virtual education, creative collaboration. His name is Daniel Dunworth. So we hope you get some light bulb moments today. You should have gotten a 9 grid that was part of the invite. Find your own light bulb moments. And then without any further ado, Lina, let's have you come off a mic.
Good morning.
Well, good morning, Lina. It's good to see you again.
Yes, it's nice to connect with everyone again. I see a lot of familiar names. I'm happy that we can connect again.
I love your glasses, by the way.
Yes, I have. I need glasses now. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the very basics. So you're located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Yes,
and give us current reality. How many? There's one salon.
We have one salon, we have 2 beauty schools, and we have our EC Labs product manufacturing facility.
Okay, gotcha. So, Lina, I've known you a very long time, and we stay in touch with each other, but I lost touch with you over the last 18 months, which isn't isn't uncommon to lose touch with people. And we were sending out 2 to 10 invites, and you got an invite, and then you send an email back. So we've had some conversations, and we themed our time together to hell and back, and which really is, with your permission to use that terminology. And you've had a journey that goes back 10 years of different things that have happened. So I want to really take us through a journey that you've been on with your portfolio of companies, the Eveline Charles Companies. And Eveline Charles is the founder. Is Eveline still involved in the company, Lena?
Eveline is really, her position is more strategic. She just isn't as interested today as in day-to-day operations, but she loves business and she's part of our strategic planning, but just not the today business.
And so you're president of this family of companies then, correct?
That's right.
And how long have you been doing this, Lena?
It's 27 years.
That's amazing.
So it's been a long time. I really grew up in the business, and I consider a lot of people in our industry part of family.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and you've been part of the 2 to 10 family. That's probably where we spent the most time. And so you've had a bit of a ride here.
Yes,
we've all had the COVID ride, but you've had other things that are Canadian specific, and in particular, Alberta specific, as it relates to oil and gas and that kind of stuff. And we'll get to that in a minute. So let's go back even like 10 years, okay? And you had how many Eveline Charles salon spas?
10.
You had 10.
We had 10. So we had multiple locations in Edmonton. We had 4 in Edmonton, 3 Calgary, 2 Kelowna. We were in Vancouver, and we also had our academies.
All right. So you had 10 locations plus the academies?
Well, 4 Edmonton,
okay.
3 Calgary, 2 Kelowna, 1 Vancouver, and then we had an Edmonton and a Calgary campus.
Okay, gotcha. And now you have 1 salon spa.
Yes, we had a major shift over those through those decades.
Okay. So, and one of the things we're all looking for out of this time together is, takeaways, the relevance, and I think your story is hugely relevant, and there's tons of lessons. So let's go back 10 years, and you really built up. I mean, you had a ton of locations, you were in malls, you had a head count of how many people?
We had around 250 employees.
Yeah, 250 employees. Okay. And now this is the first time you've really told the full story. Is that right? I think you've told bits and pieces. Stacy Sobel might be on here with us. I think you told part of it, but so this is you telling more the full story today, right? For almost the first time.
Yes, it's a full expose. We feel it's time to share what we've gone through, and hopefully we can help other companies and show that resilience pays off. And sometimes you have to evolve to grow.
Sometimes it's hard to tell a story when you're in hell. So because you're back, it's a little easier. So there is a good ending to this.
There is.
Not to say that everything is perfect, but it's easier to tell the story when you've come out of hell, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you for telling your story today. So take us through, let's sort of go through chapters, maybe 2010 to what, 15, 16. Is that kind of an era in and of itself?
2014. So 2010 to 2014, we had multiple locations, and we started to feel change was coming. There's a bit of a global recession that was happening, especially in the United States during that time. And we were starting to feel change was coming. So I have to say, during that time, although we were expanding, we were always refining our business model. So we took a lot of pride in the strategies that we had developed and how we had been able to maintain our multi-location salon spa business model. So from 2010 to 2014, our same store sales had only varied by 2%. And in 2014, we were actually up by 2%. So we kind of gave ourselves a little pat on the shoulders, and we were sharing our best business practices that we had developed for that time. But we just didn't know how much we would have to experience change going into 2015. So that's really the catalyst that started to flip our company, and that we had to really reevaluate the business that we were in.
So tell us about 2015 then. What were some of the catalysts that created a little bit more dramatic change?
So in 2015, we really felt like the carpet was being pulled from under our feet. It happened within months in the spring, where the oil and gas recession just devastated our province. It really is these natural resources are the hinge of the full economy of our province. And it was almost an overnight effect. And it affected many, many industries, but it certainly affected our customers. So we thought, okay, well, the rent that we're paying doesn't make sense anymore. We had a new government that was coming in to hopefully introduce change that was going to kind of be the branch that we need to pull us out of this bad economy. And what happened is that government increased our minimum wage from $10.50 to $14 in only a few years.
Okay,
so
let me do a little quick math here.
47%.
Yeah, 47% increase. Okay.
In our wages.
Somebody just said they're also from Edmonton here. Sandra Bent. Hi, Sandra. Okay. All right. So keep going. 47% increase. All right. Ouch.
Ouch. And our sales were, just dropping. The traffic in malls year over year, for example, in Calgary, was down 20% year over year. The traffic was just kind of dropping so quickly. So we thought, listen, like, we got to think different. So we start to negotiate with new landlords. So we start to work with the Hudson Bay and with Saks Fifth Avenue to shift our businesses and our stores to percentage sale business models with them. And they were trying to be creative as well. So they were excellent partners and very willing to be accommodating with us. And we thought, listen, they have stores across the country. We can, continue to potentially expand to a franchise business model with them, and just move away from traditional mall presence into these retail centers. So we felt that we had negotiated some really great deals, and we thought that would be a great positioning for our retail lines as well for the Eveline Charles brand. But I guess that was what we worked on, from 2015 to probably 2018, going into 2019.
All right, so we got 2010 to 2015. 2015 is a perfect storm. Revenue goes down, costs go up.
Stress goes up.
Yeah, stress goes up. And I remember you talking about franchising at one point. Did you create a franchise company along the way?
We did, and we hired a consultant to help us with our franchise business model. We started our campaign, actually. We had registered with the Franchise Association. Now that we had an established relationship with the Hudson Bay, we had traveled coast to coast to visit their top stores. We started to plan a little bit the configuration of our stores with the Hudson Bay, but we couldn't anticipate. And I think they had some insight, but certainly not clarity, that they would experience so much losses themselves. So the Hudson Bay, soon after, going into this progressive retail challenge that they were having, going into 2018, 2019, they also had to close a lot of doors. So they had paused all of this new business that they were in discussion with us.
So you were a company that was in distress pre-pandemic.
Absolutely. We were scrambling to evolve as quickly as possible.
I think some of the things that you used were, you were trying to break the code, managing cash flow daily, not really sleeping or breathing. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, I was up all night. I would just move money around through the night, through our cash flow tables, just trying to kind of scramble to maintain the business that we had invested so much time and resources in, and then evolve it as quickly as possible. And it's not that we stood still. It's not that we waited it out. We were constantly evolving, constantly negotiating, constantly trying to break the code of what our next stage would be for our multi-location salon and spa. And then the pandemic came. It was just like, oh my goodness, how can we keep up with now a pandemic with so much uncertainty?
Well, let's get to so you're down to one location, one salon spa location, and then the two schools. And the back piece, you're still coming back as it relates to the schools and the salon spa, right?
Right.
But you had a silver lining that came out of this, which is why it's easier for to talk about this today, because like I said, when you're in hell and you're going through that type of extreme distress, and I've been involved with distressed companies, both on the inside and the outside, and it's not fun. Do you feel like you've turned things around?
Well, I have to say, during that time, although it was the most stressful time in our company history, we learned the most. So we have a master's now in evolving our business. And what happened was when the pandemic started, the Saks and the Hudson Bay stores were making decisions based on their corporate office locations in Ontario and New York. So although retail hadn't closed in Alberta, our salons were being closed that we had with them because they were making policies that were nationwide. And I said, listen, if you shut down my salon when other salons are open, we're not going to make it. Like you're going to murder my business if I'm the only salon closed. And they did. They shut down their salons across the country, even though our geographic area had not closed yet. We said, listen, if you do this to me, then we're going to have to end our deal. And they understood our circumstance. I mean, they understood that, listen, they were imposing impossible restrictions on us. And we closed those locations. So we had multiple locations going into the pandemic. And then our second largest store, actually our lease had been expired and we were negotiating a shorter lease and the landlord was trying to push for a longer lease. And then when the pandemic started, we said, listen, we don't know how long this will last. We're watching what's happening in other countries right now, and we just can't carry another $25,000 a month rent for a period of time that we have no clarity on. So at the onset of the pandemic, we closed the stores. Really, we thought, listen, it can't be another, death by 1,000 cuts. Let's cut and let's preserve what we have and let's reevaluate what we want to do next. And that's what we did. So we shut down those stores. It was a good thing that we had because and there's some other Albertans here that are on the session here, but retail at Westhampton Mall, the mall traffic went down, they restricted to 33% and then down to 10%. Like it was impossible. So we were lucky that we were able to maintain that business. But what happened is that we had already in 2015, 2016, started to build EC labs. And then we were feeling the stress and we knew that we had to evolve. So we pushed to build this product manufacturing company.
Whoop, sorry, I didn't mean it. I think you were just going to answer my question.
Yeah, okay. So that product manufacturing company, and we received, we had invested in $100,000 of infrastructure, tanks, mixing equipment to scale up our business. And the tanks had arrived in mid-January and the pandemic started in February. And then from March to July, we did $2 million of sales in hand sanitizer business. It's just like, the doors were closing and then we exploded. We were making hand sanitizer for all of our federal, provincial, municipal governments, the police, all the first responders, FedEx. We had huge contracts that enabled us to sustain our business and our livelihood during that transition time. And now that we're past pandemic, we were able to, we were featured on the news. We had tremendous exposure in national magazines. We attracted some national companies for product manufacturing.
So we heard the hell, and
Yes.
now we're here in the back.
Now we came back. We came back, but it's a different company.
Yeah. So the, $2 million of sales, that sounds like very high gross margin business. So that had to just help a ton.
In 4
don't
months.
I don't think we'd be talking today if the back piece didn't happen,
No, our prayers were answered. We just needed an opportunity. We needed some good luck to come our way during all of this long time. I used to say to Eveline, we can't work this hard and not win. Like you can't be all night working and having the team that we have and not have a positive break. And then we got our break.
So you mentioned lessons and you could write a course. So let's go there. Here you've got several people that are listening in today and They're in a different world than you're in. They're, in their businesses, So what are the lessons? What are some of the key lessons that you learned out of this that might be helpful to people joining us today?
Well, if I can impart some reflection, if I look back, is that although we didn't sit still, we could have made changes earlier. And we had some businesses where we just kept trying to figure it out. You invest money and you invest time, and you don't want to walk away from that investment, but we could have made those changes earlier. We didn't have to wait for the pandemic, so if in the future, as I move forward, is that it works, you give it your all. And if it doesn't, you can't have an emotional attachment to decisions that you made in the past. So I'm going to take that with me as I move forward. Also, what I've learned, and what saved us, is that there's always an opportunity for reinvention. We're still in the beauty industry. We love the beauty industry. We've made a lot of relationships. So that's not lost. But that foundation now has allowed us to transition into a new scope of business in the beauty industry. So, don't think that now there's nothing more that I could do. There's always another door that can be opened.
So a couple different things. So I heard act quicker, and maybe some of the decisions, maybe make some decisions and take action quicker. And the other one is there's always an opportunity for reinventing. Those are two really, those are really great lessons. Keep going. What are their lessons?
I think because we had done the same thing for such a long time, is I think there was a little bit of hesitation on our part, because we didn't have confidence, because we didn't have the experience to do different things. And, although we had purchased from other labs, it doesn't mean that anyone that purchases from a lab can open a lab. But we did. In the end, we just had to bet on ourselves again. That's how Eveline started us. Any entrepreneur starts, is that you have to bet on yourself at some point and then take the risk. And then we just came to this phase in our lifespan, I guess, that we had to take the leap again and bet on ourselves. And there's no turning back, right? So, and if we have to evolve again, you evolve again, but you can't sit still and kind of fall behind, and we never want to experience that again. And I have to say, although there's stress with making a big change, it was a thrill and exciting again to be building something where you're seeing success and seeing positive results. I mean, when you're in the grind, and like you're in hell, and like some other people, I see some of your comments, but when you come out of it and you're like, oh my gosh, like there is a future now. We are much more a positive company now, because we have a future, and the energy is different in the office. It's not survival. It's like, okay, what's next? Thriving, creativity is back in our business. So I'm fortunate that we made those tough decisions.
If I was ahead of the game here, I'd be pulling up an image right now of the phoenix rising from the ashes. I mean, that's what I'm hearing here, so a lot of pride to Eveline Charles as market leaders and entrepreneurials, very well known in North America. So the emotional state, you talked about pride and humility, some of those type of things.
Absolutely. Eveline Charles is a heritage brand, in Canada, but, also within the North American beauty industry. We've been fortunate enough to be recognized around the world with global business awards. And it just was, it was humbling. It was a humbling experience to not have the success that we have had in the past, and having to really dig deep and, find a place where we can reinvent and move forward. And I think when your name is the business, like Eveline Charles is her name, it was very difficult for Eveline, especially. She really wanted to maintain that status, that the reputation that she had built over all of those years. And part of that, the stick that we had to fight it through was part of that, is that Eveline wanted to continue her legacy in business. And, it's not the same company, but we have to reinvent. And now we're going to have this next chapter. And it's going to be, we still have our flagship at salon spa. We love being in the salon spa industry, We have completely reinvented our academy business. So, we have a new online education platform that we've developed that is like nothing else on the market. So we're going to be pursuing online education. It's a new time. You have to do different business. And I'm a different leader. So there's going to be different focuses, different priorities, and a different style of leadership. And that's kind of part of the succession planning as well. So
how are you a different leader?
Well, I think there's a generational leadership style that kind of develops, and then the environment changes, the business climate changes, technology changes. Eveline was a true founder, where she was a hands-on technician, and then she polished the profession. Eveline has a lot of guts and she has a lot of vision. And then I think my strength is execution. And I don't have a technical background. I can fake it pretty good, but I don't have a technical background. But I want to be in business to make money. So, I want to evolve the brand, take everything that Eveline has invested her whole life into and use that as a platform, and expanding within the beauty industry in a different way. As I mentioned, products and new developments that we're developing for patented technology for skincare and hair care.
Yeah. Very, very entrepreneurial brand, a brand that went wide. I mean, salons, spas, schools, manufacturing, very entrepreneurial. And you made a comment that you were known as multi-location, and it was somewhat hard to cut free from that. You made that comment when we talked.
Well, I think you touched on something that's really important. So our business model was salon spa, right? Multi-location salon spa, but we were really a full circle business model. We made our products, we had our facilities, we trained we had schools. So it was a kind of a machine that we were a full circle machine. But when you are very broad in difficult times, you're spread even more thin. And that really did contribute a lot to our stress, because it's not just figuring out the strategy for one, it's figuring out the strategy for all three. And that did contribute to our stress. I think it would have been easier for us if we were in a single track. But because we were wide, it did allow us to open our eyes to expand our business model moving forward and have a little bit of resilience. So if one model, like the salon spa, was really the foundation of our company, but if we hadn't expanded to the lab, we wouldn't have a company today, I don't think, or it would be, it'd be a very difficult position that we'd be in today. But because we had been broader, yes, it was more difficult, but we were struggling here, then this one skyrocketed through the roof.
Yeah.
So.
Ginger asked a question, which I think I've got the answer to. She might not have heard you. She said, are you now out of the beauty industry and only in the sanitizing manufacturing business, or both? You're clearly still in the beauty industry.
To be honest, so all our restrictions in our province lifted on July 1st. And our sales are higher than we've ever had. We consolidate our businesses, but that West Mall location now is doing better sales than we did probably in 2017, 2018. So that salon is doing very well. The school, it's a total different ball of wax, but we are doing well in our beauty school. And our lab doesn't just make hand sanitizer. That was just the golden ticket that we were presented. Our core manufacturing is hair, skin, body products, baby barbering, antiperspirant. We make any topical health and beauty product. So hand sanitizer business actually has dropped considerably. We still have consistent contracts, but the growth that we had is in personal care.
The golden ticket.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
We all need a golden ticket now and then.
Yeah, it was a prayer answered. It was just, and the orders are coming in. It was like 200,000, 50,000. It was just, we were working like when I say we worked around the clock during that time, Eveline and Barry were here often themselves on the line, to 10, 11, 12 o'clock. One night I worked with them late, and then I hadn't done any of my own day-to-day work. I thought I'll just get a few emails cleared up. I worked until 4 o'clock in the morning. I drove home, I changed my clothes, and I came back. We just had to hold on to every opportunity we had. And I'm really lucky that the team stepped up as well. There's like, whatever you need. They saw how we were struggling, and everyone was on the manufacturing line.
Wow. Hard work, determination, persistence, kind of your classic story of resilience, and a story of, just being a company. I think that many people on this call can relate with having a company in distress. But this is a little bit beyond normal distress because of the length of time, the magnitude of it. And when you were just rocking and you had all these locations, there were big locations, big what type of square footage?
We have several thousand, 7,500 square feet was our largest location. We were our sweet spot was between 4.5 and 6.
Okay.
And then our flagship was larger. And we had, full range salon, spa, beauty, MD treatments. And we did learn a lot during that time, but it was learning more to be better at what we already did. It wasn't broad in scope. And then we became broad in knowledge through our difficult times. We were forced to.
What other lessons have come out of this for you, Lena, as you take, we're able to reflect here and relate with other people on the call? What other important lessons have you learned in this whole experience, hell and back?
I guess another lesson, I'm just trying to kind of pull anything else, is that as we were getting tighter in our cash flow, is that we start to kind of keep pouring out, but we should have called it earlier. I think I kind of touched on that before, like, don't go to your last dime before you're forced to make a change, because that's really stressful. But like, when you see the kind of the decline, to try to make some better decisions or shifts so that you can use some of this reserve to go towards new ideas. But we had, when you're in deep and you're scrambling, you can't even think straight to make good decisions. You're just trying to, get to this like next week, the next month, and you're just trying to kind of hold on. But I would make decisions earlier.
Okay. Well, great lessons. I want to see if anybody has any questions or comments. If you have any comments or questions for Lena, let's put it in the chat right now. We'll pause a little bit to get some of your feedback here. So let's see what questions or comments you have for Lena. Would be great. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, is don't be afraid. Why are people afraid to use the chat is what I wonder sometimes. Use the chat. Okay. So who do we have on the call? I like to kind of go through here and see who's involved. We got someone from the Twin Cities here. Good morning, Amanda and Andrew, Anne. Hi, April. I'm looking forward to seeing you in September. Hi, Ashley. Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn. It's good to see you on here. Kathy. Great to see you, Kathy. Christine and Connie and Dawn and Ginger and Heather and Jackie. Hi, Jackie. I'm getting in touch with you ASAP, Jackie, by the way. James, Jan, and Joe and Jean, Karen and Carrie and Carla and Kate. A lot of fellow 2 to 10 members on here, by the way. Kelly, Kip. Hi, Kip. Leah, Linda. Hey, Marilyn, you must be back from the Airstream trip. Hi, Mark and Marcia. Hi, Marcia, great to have you here. Melissa, Michelle, good morning, Nicole and Quinn and Ralph. We're seeing some new faces on here. Sandra, Sandy, Shara, Stephanie, Steve, Tammy, Terry, Tanya, Tracy, and Will. So some of these people you've met before, Lena, some you haven't. Let's see what pops up in the chat here, okay? Congratulations, Lena. Great to see you. That is from, we've got some comments from from former 2 to 10 members. Well, still 2 to 10 members.
I see some questions about staffing in the chats. Do we have to let staff go? So yes, in the cities that we no longer had a business, we did have to let that staff go. We gave them appropriate notice. Certainly we really appreciate the time they were with us, but we did have to let them go. In Edmonton, we moved everyone that wanted to we offer to retain them and move them to our flagship location. So that's why our sales are higher in that store, is that we did retain a lot of those employees.
I didn't see that question. You might be seeing questions that I haven't, so keep going here.
From Jan Hill, for the, I guess that hand sanitizer and our retail brands, is that we have a distributor now, and the Eveline Charles purifying hand cream. So it's a hand cream that also sanitizes. We are in central markets in Texas. So our product lines are getting more distribution now. You know, we used to only, our business model at first was to sell only Eveline Charles products in the Eveline Charles stores, but now we have less stores, and now we're selling them outside of our model. And we got picked up in Texas, and our products are at a trade show this weekend. So we're looking for expansion in the US.
Carla asked a great question, and it's a question that has been, Carla maybe read my mind here. Thank you, Carla, for the question. What's your top focus today in the salon part of your business?
Okay, well, our strategy right now is what we've been observing, and maybe you have as well, is that during the pandemic, and I think coming out of the pandemic, is that salons moved either to be less expensive or focusing on being a little bit more polarized and rebuilding that more sophisticated business model at a higher price point. And in the middle is where we kind of suffered, right? So salons didn't have a clear identity. So because we had this long and deep recession, you know, we did drop a little bit. And now our strategy is to push it right back up and to, you know, be as 5 stars as possible in every way. So, you know, from the staff training, we've invested a ton in staff training, our dress code, our service offering. So we're pushing that back up to stand even more apart from the rest of the competition in our market.
Second part of the question is, which you've addressed here, is what have you evolved in your business since the big shift in direction? And if you feel like you've already answered that, that's fine, or you want to clarify.
No, it was pre-pandemic, but it was just, you know, we were struggling with our cash flow. So small details that, you know, don't stand out on their own, but do have a cumulative effect is, you know, maybe our cutting capes weren't as nice, or towels, you know, didn't change as often. So we were trying to manage all of our cash, but then it starts to have an effect on the overall experience of the guest. So now, I mean, that's what we had to go through that as we made changes, but now we're going back to really focusing on polishing our business. And if we're going to have that flagship, it's going to be an iconic experience where, you know, it's destinational. West Edmonton Mall is our top tourist destination, and we're there. So we're working a lot of strategies with the center, but we're just refining that, an unbelievable experience for our guests at that location.
Yeah. Many are acknowledging your story here, and I'm sure you'll enjoy reading the chat. Tammy, good morning, Tammy. How are you? You asked the question, what are the future goals for the company? Do you have any very, very tangible goals that would be like, even like metric driven, going to another location, more schools, any like really tangible, specific?
So for the salon business, we're not expanding to more locations. We want to fully optimize that facility. I think that's another lesson, is that as we were expanding in the past, we were opening locations when our existing locations were not optimized. You know, we thought, hey, this is a great deal, great location, let's open another location. No, we're only at 50 or 60% capacity. Let's open another one. So we're going to like ensure that we are completely, fully optimized in that one location before we even think about other stores. For the school, we have our existing campus. We have an international student strategy that we're working on right now, and then our online education platform. And then for EC Labs, I mean, we're attracting new customers all the time, and we're really on a separate vein here, but with EC Labs is we're really going to be focusing. Our next chapter will be strongest on our products.
Okay.
And expansion.
Yeah. And I know you've been working on that for years. I remember when the product, I mean, that's not an overnight thing.
It's not, yeah.
And the lesson that you just mentioned about expanding and when to add locations is a really great takeaway for everyone else, as well as a really good reminder. It's be careful when you add location. You got to make sure that you're at a certain level of capacity before you add multiples. So great, great lesson. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I think those are the majority of the questions. If anybody else has any questions, please do them in the chat. You're getting a lot of thank yous and about the journey and all of that. So Lena, I don't see any other questions, at least right now. So anyway, I am really, really pleased we got to spend time today. And you told your story, which is amazing. You have, hold on here, Sandra. And Sandra, I get the impression that you're from Alberta. And Sandra, I know you, but I guess I didn't track that you're from Alberta. She asked the question, have you changed your in-person education model at all?
So what I hope I'm answering the question correctly. When we hire a new hire for the salon spa, they go through an internship. So it's it's a morning a week for about 3 months. And then in between, they have some quotas that they have to meet in between. So we invested in, working and bringing a lot of education, for example, from Vivian McKinder, from all of these top leaders. We invested in bringing this education. We have a education lead within our facility, and then she provides a training for the rest of our team. And I think we just really invested in that system and making sure that, when you come to Eveline Charles, that you have a very unique experience and that you can trust that you're in good hands to take care of our customers. I hope that answered the question.
I think so. And Tanya Jones, thank you for being so vulnerable and brave. Mark Gonzalez, give best to Eveline. So it's nice to have you back in the community, because you can see that you are part of a community. You're seeing a lot of people, Kate from ILOF, a lot of your people that you've connected with in the past. So it's good to have you back in the community. You should join our weekly roundtable going forward.
There's still a lot to learn. I mean, we've been at this for a long time. Eveline's been at this for 47 years. I've been with her 27, and we're still thirsty to learn. So I appreciate all your comments. I know we were all in this together. This is not a localized experience. I know a lot of us have all gone through a similar experience, and I thank you for hearing my story, and I hope that I could help anyone in need.
Well, you absolutely did. So let me award you the official $1 million light bulb as a member of our Brain Trust. We're going to give you a virtual applause. Let's give her a virtual applause, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Don't be afraid to use the chat to give her applause too. So Lena, stick around a little bit. I've got a few other things that I want to go through, but so glad to have you. Okay. And it was great to see you. Say hi to Eveline, and we'll stay in touch with you. Show up each week, and that way that you got some clapping going on here. And,
thank you so much.
Awesome. So, all right. What else do I have? Michelle, I'm gonna need some of your information here in a little bit. I've got a few other things for you guys today here. And, I've made it no secret anymore that we have, in a very, very big way, we're changing our portfolio of activities to reach students before they actually enter the workforce in their new profession, to teach them skills that will match what they learned about their craft. So Money by Qnity is a program for students, and it is absolutely sorely needed. Students and parents are not prepared to deal with financial challenges. And what I want to do today is I want to take you so these are the different modules that are part of this course. And there is a module that I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about, because I think it transcends students and goes right into the workforce. And this is the 8th module. Aaron actually happens to be the guide in this module. So these are the 8 modules to the course. We will eventually make it available for your teams too. But I'm going to skip over. So there's 5 different lessons in this module. And I guess the reason why I'm talking to you about this is it's maybe just a little bit of inspiration for you in terms of things that you can do with your team from a recruitment and retention standpoint as it relates to money related matter. So in this module, we have 5 different lessons, and each lesson has worksheets and all that kind of stuff. But talking about money, number 1 is I really feel there's a great opportunity to teach students as well as members of your team how to talk about money. Money and relationships, it is just such a vital thing as you go through life. And it can cause a breakup of a relationship. It's a very, very high stress topic between couples, as well as between employers and employees. So different tips. And Michelle, the individual lessons around this, or some of the key talking points on talking about money. Do you have like 30 seconds to summarize some of the topics in that?
For sure. Good morning, everybody. We talk about 8 different do's and don'ts talking about money in this lesson. So one of them is being able to choose your timing. One talks about timing. One talks about the amount that you communicate. One talks about not avoiding hard conversations. You know, it's really important that we don't avoid those hard things. Aren't just going to go away unless we address them. And so it talks about how do you approach those hard conversations, and just gives different tips for really how to navigate those different things.
Okay, now for our audience here, obviously, you know, this is a Salon Spa audience. I'm opening up the door for something, and that is to possibly take one of these sessions and to allow it be a class that can be used with your team, because this particular module is not necessarily totally related to students. So I'm giving a little hint here that we are open to making this kind of information available. All right, let's go on to the next one here. The next one is money agreements. Oh my God. No one really understands agreements, contracts, verbal versus written contracts. When to seek a lawyer, ethics. This is a really big one. So quick summary of the topics here, again, that I think, and I am speaking to you as a former salon owner here, as well as an advisor. And I know that these things are not happening. So Michelle, what are some of the key topics real quick on this one?
We break money agreements into 3 different sections. We talk about agreements, contracts, and also professionalism, how agreements and contracts show up in your work life. All contracts are agreements, but not all agreements are contracts. We break that down into, we do talk about non-disclosure agreements. We do talk about non-compete agreements, and how entering into those that are called agreements are actually contracts, and what their professional responsibilities are as they are an employee. I know for me, previously working in salons and spas, that was one of our biggest challenges, is helping people to understand that, and how great if people came into your business knowing about those things already.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to teach ethics. We actually teach ethics. Anyway, the next one is about ask. And I think there is for many of us, including myself, there's a reluctance to ask. So, but we're very specific about ask. So let's go through that one real quick. And by the way, I'm looking for comments from you guys. Which of these things do you think would be helpful to bring to your teams? Okay. So get, a little bit of chat help would be great, because I'm looking for some of your feedback here. All right, Michelle, what do we got in this one?
Asking for help is hard. People don't like to do it. And so we really try and break through those barriers about really advocating that they ask for help, and not just in regards to small things, but also with money. And so we really go through also how humans can help you, building a trusted team of people that can help you with your money, and also how technology can help you. And sometimes, technology can tell you a fact, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how to apply that fact. And so we talk about the application of help as well as seeking help.
Yeah, we reviewed different apps to use, online banking, all that kind of stuff. All right, money in action. This is where we actually, because this is the last module in the course, this is where we break it down into what to do. So Michelle, you got a quick summary on this one?
We've got 8 modules in the course, and each module has a key action step. And so we go through a key action step that if they apply those action steps, they're really going to see a huge difference in their finances.
And the last module is about making an impact. And, so this isn't just about money, but it's making an impact. So describe this one real quick, Michelle.
We go through 6 different ways that they can make an impact. Everything from being excellent at your craft, that makes an impact. If you put the time and energy into becoming really excellent in your craft, that makes a difference. You're making an impact in the world and how that shows up for people. But also giving, being a giver, using what comes into you to also give back. We do talk about the power of gratitude and how you can make an impact, having gratitude in your own life and also expressing that gratitude. And then there's 3 other ways in there to make an impact.
All right, very good. We've got an intro. This is for schools. We'll go through this later today. It's a demo. If one of you are interested in seeing the course, great. In the future, some of these modules will be made available to you, whether it's in bite-sized chunks. Would love to hear your feedback in terms of that type of content. But let's see here. We have got 53 after the hour. Just a couple quick reminders at the end. Qnity in action. We've got great coaches that are there to help you. We do have some openings with some of our coaches that are going into the fall, starting in September. If you're interested, book a private session. Everybody needs a coach. For me particular, the biggest investment I ever made was one of the largest checks I wrote at a certain point in my life for a coach. It was the best investment I ever made. I'm not one of the coaches. The coaches are an outstanding group between Carrie Perkins, Candice Gliata, Jody Ohama, and Heath Smith. We've also got the trainer certification program coming up if you're interested. And then last but not least is 2 to 10. Registration is almost full. I didn't really do very much on 2 to 10 last week, but there's a lot of stuff happening on 2 to 10 this week. So check your emails and register. If you are booking a room at the hotel, there's been a little bit of confusion. If you try to book on Saturday night, it may mess up the rate for the rest of your stay. So book for Sunday and Monday night. And then that'll give you the rate that's reduced from like $800 per night per room to $210. And then if you're a emerging leader, I saw that Carolyn from Yellow Strawberries on here. I know that one of your boys is going to be in the emerging leaders group, which is awesome. And anyway, I think that as we end here, all progress all progress happens when you tell the truth. And certainly Lena was very vulnerable today and told her truth, which I love that. And so can you send those dates, et cetera, to me, Sandra? I will have Michelle do that. Roman would definitely be interested in presenting module 8 to employees. Jackie, it's easy. You're in town here. Would love to do it. Carolyn, good to say hi to you. The money program, Lena actually had a demo of the money program for schools. Right now, the money program is just for schools, but we are going to adapt it for salons. And we'll do it starting with bite-sized chunks. All right. Thank you, Lena, for sharing. Good morning, Steve and April. All right. I ramble at this point. Guys, we are back on next week. What is next week, Michelle? It's at the 25th, I think. That'll be roundtable number 56. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us today. Lena, thanks again for your help. Michelle, thanks for everything that you are doing behind the scenes. You are a big part of this whole weekly episode. And for those of you that are in the school business, you can join us in an hour. I've got about an hour break. I'm going to have a protein shake. I've got a new protein shake. It's this, but let me know if anybody's had that before. I just picked it up yesterday. So anyway, as I hang up, I'm going to pump myself with a little protein. Guys, forgive me for my random comments, and we will. Oh, and it's yum. Oh, Andrew. All right. They're fantastic. It's yummy. It sounds like I actually got my first Costco card yesterday. My wife has a Costco card. And so I broke some new ground last night. All right, guys, that's enough for one day. We'll see you next week. Bye.